I love going to watch motivational speakers because by the time
Yes.
I am done, I feel so riled up. I feel so ready to run and just go do everything. And then I get home and I review my notes. And 2 days later, guess what?
You've forgotten it all.
I didn't change a dang thing. And then I fall back into the slump of normal routine. And then I wait to go to the next motivational speaker that's going to tell me how to change my life and get all motivated. And the dirty cycle continues. Nothing happens. And we're here today to talk about the myth of motivation and what we can do instead to create change so that the things that we actually want actually happen.
I love it. So, I always get asked or get told, I need you to motivate me. I should hire you because I need someone to motivate me. Hate to break it to you, I can't motivate you.
Nope. There's nothing that I can impose upon you that will make you want to change. That has to come from you.
You're either motivated or you're not.
Yep.
And if you're motivated, I can help you succeed. As a coach, I can give you a plan. I can give you a playbook. I can say, go here, turn left, throw the ball. Here's the guy to catch it. And it'll work. But if you're not ready to run fast, I can't make you run fast.
No.
The playbook doesn't work.
Nope. One of my coaches and mentors always says there is no such thing as motivation. What you want is success. So instead of motivation, give me motivation, it's give me the tools that I need to succeed. So instead of saying I need to be motivated, it's what tools do I need to be successful? That's how we shift our mindset and shift the words that are coming out of our mouth so that we can actually find that success. And the best thing that we can do to get success is to give ourselves a structure and discipline to follow through. Without those two things.
That's what a coach does.
Yes.
They give you the structure and they hold you to it, right? They provide the discipline. They provide the, hey, you're going to have to do extra laps or you're going to have to do burpees or whatever if you don't.
Yep.
And that may help to motivate you, but it doesn't give you motivation, right? So that is everything when it comes to wanting any kind of success. Whether it's with your career, with sports, with your physical body, with relationships, any kind of change you're trying to create, you have to have that internal drive, that why first. Then you go find a coach that knows what they're doing, and that coach can provide the structure.
Yep.
They can say, okay, here's what you need to do, and here's how you do it. And if you follow that structure and you are self-disciplined enough to do it, and maybe just checking in with the coach is what holds you to it, then you'll be successful.
Yes.
But if you put all of the onus on the coach to make it happen for you, it's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. And then when things like COVID-19 happens and you can't go to the gym, you fall off the bandwagon because somebody else was giving you a motivation or a structure or whatever, instead of you coming up with your own oomph and your own motivation, your inner motivation. Someday that external motivation is going to be gone.
Right.
So you have to be able to have it come from the inside out rather than the outside in. Now, what you can find is an external source of discipline.
Yes.
So that's where you can find your coach. I mean, the coach is going to have the structure, but also the discipline. Yeah. We are going to meet together every day at this time for this long.
Right. Accountability.
Yes. So you can find external accountability and external discipline, but you can't find external motivation.
Nope.
It doesn't happen. It doesn't work that way.
I'll tell you what, the clients that I've worked with who've been successful and the people who've been in my weight loss challenges that have been successful, they've had that motivation. And all I did was say, here's your recipe book, follow the recipe. And they were like, okay, yeah, put me in. I'll do whatever you say. Check, 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 check. The ones who've not been successful are the ones that say, oh, well, yeah, I'm just not really good at tracking. I'm just not really good at this. I just don't, I'm not, it's not my normal thing. Well, yeah, it's not your normal thing.
Mm-mm.
And you know what? If you continue to do your normal thing, the thing that you've always done, you're going to have what you've always had.
Yeah.
So if you want the change, you're going to have to do something different. It's not going to be your normal thing.
Nope.
Right?
And we can't tell you what your motivation is going to be.
No.
We don't know where you're coming from. We don't know where you want to go. But if what you're doing now isn't working for you, change things up.
Mm-hmm.
Find some other coaching, find some other resources for you to tap into, find your inner why so that you have the motivation.
Well, your why might change.
Exactly.
Sometimes your why changes. Often it changes, especially if you're the type of person that your why is dependent on an event. Like I know a lot of people that they are preparing for a specific competition, whether it's a triathlon or one of the mud run things or a Spartan race or one of those things. That's their motivation, and that's what helps them. That's awesome. But when the race is over, now what?
Now what?
So you got to find the next thing. So your why it's fine if it changes. That's not a problem.
That's what happened in my first triathlon. My motivation was just to say that I did it because I loved swimming, and so I wanted to do it. And so I trained my guts out just to say that I did it. Well, my first triathlon, I came in 7th to last out of everybody.
But you did it.
But I did it. And so
goal.
my goal, my why, my purpose, my motivation was fulfilled. And so to go into my next triathlon saying, oh, I just want to do it, it didn't get me off of the couch because I'd already done it and I'd already been there. So my next motivation, my next why had to change. I had to be able to say, I want to come in the top 20% of my age bracket rather than 7th to last out of everybody. Like I wanted to be the top 20%. So that means I had to figure out who, so all those kinds of things. They post all the results and everything. So that means I had to do a little bit of research, go in and say, okay, what was that? What would that look like? What's the time? And so then I had something to work for, and that external motivation, that internal motivation that got me off of the couch. But my why had changed, and it needed to change.
Don't you also find that with each step, it gets harder?
Yeah.
The first, just to do it, looking back now, I mean, not to like diminish it, but it probably doesn't look that hard now. No. You're like, that's not that big of a deal to just do it. But now to do it and finish in the top 10 or do it and finish in the top 5, similar to when you're losing weight and you're like, I just need to lose weight, and you lose 10 pounds and it's like amazing. Yay! And you're super excited. And it actually probably wasn't that hard because you changed a few things and your body was like, whoa. But then you start getting down there to where you only have 3 to 5 pounds that you're maybe trying to lose, or maybe it's not weight at all. Maybe now it's just adjusting your body composition. That is when it gets really hard.
Yeah.
And that's when the motivation part kicks in, because if you don't have the motivation, you're going to go,
it's too hard. I think I'm done.
Yep. Or you blame your coach and you tell him, this isn't working. Yeah. Here's the other thing though. If you do have a great coach and you do have motivation, sometimes it's still not going to work. So you have to course correct and you have to figure out and you have to look and go, okay, I did everything that I was supposed to do and it's still not working. Now what? And it might be some little tiny thing you have to tweak, or it might be, maybe you did make it in the top 10, but you were 10th.
Right.
Maybe you're like, okay, yeah, I squeaked by like a half a second. Next time, I'd really like to have it in the bag.
Yeah, I want to be on the podium.
Right. So, you got to adjust along the way.
Yeah.
My thing with all goals and success is, number one, you have to figure out what motivates you and why you want to do it. The real reason.
Yeah.
There has to be like a good reason to get you out of bed in the morning to do it. Then you have to have a great playbook or a plan, and it needs to be applicable to you and your life and your lifestyle.
Yes.
Like if you wanted to do your triathlon and someone said, well, yeah, you can be top 5 as long as you train 7 hours a day. Oh, well, I have kids and a job, and you're not a 20-something-year-old collegiate athlete that can train all right. So that may not be the playbook that applies to you. So you've got to find the right playbook, and then you have to implement it. and you have to implement it like you mean it.
Dun dun dun.
I know, and it's tough. That's what I've noticed. I've noticed that about a lot of people because of all this COVID stuff. Mm-hmm. You can really tell the people that are committed to something.
Yes.
And the ones that aren't.
Yes.
I've seen some very creative ways of exercising. I have seen some very creative home improvement projects. And all via social media, because that's all that we can do now.
Yep.
I have also seen people that I used to hear say, I am so motivated. I am on track to lose weight. And I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And those same people have
just gained 10 pounds in the last 2 weeks.
And they have done nothing but whine.
Mm-hmm. I can't go to the gym.
Yeah.
But there are lots of other ways to do it. What's your motivation? When it gets to be too hard,
mm-hmm.
do you bow out or do you find a new way? Mm-hmm. Necessity is the mother of invention.
Yes, it is.
I don't know who said that, but I love it and I say it all the time. And in our houses, in our spaces, it's the same thing. And it's not necessarily. So we have to kind of kill two birds with one stone in our house. We have to be able to say, okay, what's my motivation mm-hmm. of keeping my house clean and tidy? But then I also have to find individual purposes for every single room. So I walk in and I can say, okay, what's the purpose of this room? This is only my bedroom. Great. Then nothing else goes in here mm-hmm. except what this room needs to be a bedroom. This is my office and my kids' craft room and the music practice room and the guest bedroom when people come over. Okay, now you get to be creative in determining, okay, what goes in here. But once you know that, then all the extra stuff, but I really just kind of want to save it. And there's an empty space in here. And so I could put it in there. All of a sudden, that excuse has no validity. Mm-hmm. You cannot put something in that space because you know the purpose of the room.
So just like with the physical stuff, if there's only one big purpose, like losing weight, uh-huh. it's a bedroom. Yes. That's a pretty simple, achievable. Right? Mm-hmm. But when you have a room that has to serve 4 or 5 purposes, now the goal is harder to do, right? Yes. It's harder to achieve. It's more complex. It requires a little bit more creativity, and it probably requires a little more motivation to maintain uh-huh. the organization if you're using it for that many purposes, right?
Yes. But that now is where the internal motivation has to come from, because then you have to say, what am I motivated by? Am I motivated by stuff? And, not having an empty house, when I have to provide for my family, if I can't go to the grocery store for 30 days, am I motivated by stashing stuff everywhere in my house? Or am I motivated by the relationship that I can have with the person in this space? Because if that motivation is driven by stuff, you're always going to be shifting and changing and right. tweaking and manipulating, and here we go. And that's fine. There are certain areas of your house that have to be driven by stuff. Your refrigerator and your storage room are usually driven by stuff. That's why you have a refrigerator and a storage room. Because there are things that stuff needs to go. But when you walk into a main space in your house, you say, what's the motivation? What's the purpose of this space? Is to be a living room. Great. How can I increase relationships in this living room? Notice that's very different than, there's just an empty space. I can put a whole bunch of stuff over in that corner.
Right.
Because then all of a sudden you start spreading and scattering and getting cluttered, and you don't know where things belong, and you don't know how to teach your kids how to put stuff away because
there's not really a place to put it.
You're motivated by stuff. Yeah. Not relationships.
Yeah.
So if you can find the internal motivation, I can't motivate you to do that. It has to come from you. What I can give you is structure. I can say, this is end of the line. This is the only place that sheets can go.
And if they don't all fit,
get rid of something. You don't need 15 pairs of sheets.
But I might need it one day.
Oh, that's a totally other subject for another day. But if we're driven by, this is the motivation that I have is to improve the relationship with my kids, improve the relationship with myself, improve my relationship with my husband, improve my relationship with God, improve my relationship, whoever it is, whatever the relationship motive is, figure out a way to structure that, to limit it, put those boundaries up, and then discipline yourself to say, I am not going beyond these boundaries. This is where your toys go. You have these 2 bins. Mm-hmm. This one's for Legos. This one's for micro machines. Oh, micro machines don't even exist anymore, do they?
No.
This one's for Legos. This one's for Pokemon cards and games. Okay. End of story. That means if I find your Legos somewhere else in the house, I am throwing them away. I am not giving you a chance to put them away because you know that that's where they go.
Yep.
And your kids are going to think you are the devil for about a week, and then they're going to figure it out, and all of a sudden your relationship with them goes, because you're not harping, you're not nagging, You're not getting after them, you're not screaming at them. And so following those strict boundaries and guidelines has all of a sudden improved your relationship with your kids. It's amazing how that happens.
So motivation.
The motivation has to
from
be
you.
Internal.
Structure
has to come from systems, boundaries, the playbook, whatever it is you are following.
And then last
is discipline.
Yep.
Stick to it. If the system breaks, find a new system. But stick to it. Follow those boundaries. Be absolutely strict, because if you break it
consistently,
then you're not going to see it. But consistency is key.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, take the time. Now is the time.
Now is the time. That's your homework. So find internal motivation. Stop looking for external motivation, because no matter how many podcasts you listen to, it's still not going to make you pick up something and go put it in the giveaway bin. It's still not going to make you pick up a dumbbell.
Nope.
So it has to be, find your internal motivation, find a playbook or a system, and figure out what you need to be disciplined in that so that you can gain success.
There you go. Easy.
There's your homework.
Done. Go figure it out.
Let us know how we can best serve you, how we can best help you, and make sure that you share this with somebody who also needs to hear it and who can help you determine your structure and boundaries, and who can be a good resource for you.
We are here. We are still here. You can still reach us all the same places on Facebook. It's Homebod Podcast. And we would love to hear your messages, either privately or publicly, about what you are trying to figure out and navigate through this crazy new reality we're living in, and how we can best support you.
Okay, excellent. We'll see you next week.